Micky and the Beanstalk is a lot of fun. I've seen this a few times over the years. This is the 1947 animation directed by Hamilton Luske and Bill Roberts. And we have Walt Disney as Mickey Mouse, Clarence Nash as Donald Duck, and Pinto Colvig as Goofy. We also have Billy Gilbert as Willie the Giant, and Anita Gordon as the singing harp. I love the animation of the singing harp. I think she looks beautiful. In fact, the entire thing is well animated. This is, of course, a very traditional story of Jack and the Beanstalk, but with Disney characters, and it is pretty typical. And there are, of course, differences here and there. Primarily, Donald, Goofy, and Mickey living together, impoverished, and one of them, I won't say which character, but one of them, of course, gets their hands on some magic beans. These magic beans grow into a beanstalk, and they end up going up this beanstalk and encountering Willie the Giant. Now, this is quite weird to look back on because nowadays, Willie the Giant is actually a friend of Mickey and the gang. For example, in Mickey Mouse Clubhouse, they often encounter Willie the Giant and they are very friendly. They sometimes do favours for Willie the Giant. So, looking back on it, it's quite weird to have this character being quite an antagonist. Not that that's anything bad, of course, it's just different. It's certainly very interesting. And they have to try and, well, solve various problems, but ultimately survive. And it is a pretty traditional version of Jack and the Beanstalk. I'm not entirely sure if the harp is a traditional element. I believe I've seen a version of, or read maybe a version of Jack and the Beanstalk that also featured a harp, but I've also read a version with a goose that laid a golden egg. So I'm not entirely sure which is the classic version. If you do know, feel free to let me know. I'm sure a quick Google search would probably tell me which elements are in the kind of very first version of Jack and the Beanstalk and which ones have been created along the years. But I think it's cute. I think in terms of perspective, it works really well. Everything for the giant is in proportion, and of course, everything from Mickey, Donald, and Goofy is massive, and I love seeing them interact with these everyday objects that are larger than life. I had a lot of fun watching this one because it's a story that I quite like, as I have seen a lot of versions of it. Um, there are certain things that I like more than others, and for me, this seemed to be the best of all of the elements that I enjoyed. It's not so scary that young children who are very of a nervous disposition would be very intimidated by it, but at the same time, it can be quite intense. So I think it's got a really nice kind of balance there. Well animated, as I said, the characters in this are brilliant. Had it just been Mickey Mouse, it would have still been really enjoyable, but the fact that they've brought in Goofy and Donald as well gives it just that little bit extra something to make it all the more interesting. If you're a fan of Disney, Mickey and the Beanstalk is definitely worth watching.